Hi, I'm Pat Rinker. I'm Director of Adult Formation at St. Gerard's. And I've been here since the summer of 2016, so I'm in my fourth year of ministry here. But I've been in ministry my whole adult life. When I was 17 years old, I went to a ministry called Young Life. It was a non-denominational evangelist ministry, and I went to summer camp. I gave my life to Christ. And when I came back, I just volunteered for everything at my church. I was a catechist my senior year in high school for the 9th grade class, and I've been in ministry and formation in the Catholic Church ever since. My realization that that's where God was calling me came during that first year that I came home from camp. I was at a regional meeting for Young Life Ministries, and there was a lot of us there, a lot of young people who had gone to camp and given their lives to Christ. And while I was at this gathering, the director for regional ministry for Young Life came up to me and asked if I ever considered responding to a call to ministry in Young Life. I looked around the room at all the people that were there, and I said to him, you know, you look like you got plenty of help here. I think God wants me to serve Him in the Catholic Church. It was the first time that I articulated that at that point in my life, and I went to Aquinas College, majored in theology and minored in Greek and education, and I just went on to ministry in schools and parishes and diocesan ministry. It's been my entire life. Over 40 years of full-time ministry. I was asked to share a memory, and it's so hard to pick one memory because along the way the thing that sticks with me the most is just people who touch you along the way. I was the pastoral associate at St. Dominic's Church in Wyoming, Michigan for 5 years, and we had developed a service that we did during the summer with the youth ministry and with the adult formation group. And we worked together. We went up to Habitat for Humanity in Baldwin for 3 days, and then in our own parish we had developed over those few years a 2-week service project where we did home repair, insulation, painting, anything for people in our own parish. In the early part of the year we would take requests for service projects. I would then get the materials and raise the funds to do it, and then we'd have sign up for the shifts to work on these homes. There was this one home in particular where there was this man who had chronic pain who had asked us to come and paint his stairwell. He had painted the rest of the interior of his house, but he couldn't do the stairwell. It was one of these stairwells where the ceiling stayed straight. It didn't go down with the stairs. So it was just too tall for him. So we set up a series of ladders so that we could get to that point, and we painted his stairwell, and we were done. A week later, I get this amazing thank you note for him that he had been in chronic pain for years. He hadn't been to church for years. He had begun to believe that there was no God. But every time he looked at his stairwell, he knew that there was a God and he cared for him. I was so touched by his thank you note. I called him, and we had a conversation. And he had shared with me his story and how he hadn't been to Mass in years, and he just couldn't go because he just had too much pain. He couldn't sit that long. So I says, well, why don't you bring your pillow and your blanket to church with you and go to morning Mass, just weekday morning Mass. It's much shorter than the Sunday liturgy. And so that week he showed up, pillow and blanket in hand, and he sat in the back pew. And when he couldn't sit any longer, he lay down. And he kept coming, and eventually he came without his pillow and blanket. And eventually he showed up for Sunday morning Mass. And he never stopped coming. That was just one of the many experiences along the way that I remember, that I really see that the real gospel message is love. And when we reach out in love, we show people the good news. And so as I reflect on that, I developed a philosophy of life and a philosophy of ministry. My philosophy of life is that Life is a series of relationships in which we learn to love God and love others. Everything else in life either distracts us from that or contributes to it. And my philosophy of ministry is all ministry is relational. The effectiveness of our ministry depends on the quality of our relationships. 1 John 4 says, whoever does not know love does not know God, for God is love. And so my prayer for you is that you grow in the love of God, and as you respond to your call to ministry, your vocation, whether it be within the confines of the walls of the church or in your family or in your community, that it's done out of love. Because when it's done out of love, you will truly be bearing witness to God.